This is Favors Financial Topics, various topics. So, what are the big five personality traits? Costa and McCrae suggests that personality is structured among five dimensions. They argue that personality traits tend to be bipolar, with some people scoring on diagnostic tests at either extremes, high or low. The following make up the big five. So these are the ones: NEOAC, neuroticism, extroversion, openness to experience, agreeableness, conscientiousness. So we're going to look at the high-low dimensions and how personality traits and high-low dimensions affect our understanding of personal finances, which if we have a bad understanding would contribute to our financial setback, and how we might need to consider personality in terms of financial recovery. So openness to experience, so high, imaginative, creative, original, prefers variety, curious, liberal, and then low, down to earth, uncreative, conventional, prefers routine, uncurious, conservative. I think on many levels, all of us need to be in the low dimension of openness to experience. At least the majority of that, especially the routine part, the conservative part, the down to earth part. I do appreciate the ideal of being creative, being a little curious, and preferring variety. But say, for instance, you're thinking about romantic engagement. And a lot of people, their sense of variety is, dating multiple people. You would hear men today, especially YouTubers, talk about adopting a dating rotation, right? You would have women who also, YouTubers, also talk about having a roster of men. And so they look at that as variety. But if you are engaging in these all these types of relationships, it's going to impact you financially eventually. The man may be spending a lot of money with different dates. The woman might be spending a lot of clothes for her dates. And so sometimes routine might be better in that regard. Don't have a dating rotation. Don't have a dating roster. Date, right? But set limits for yourself, right? So that you are not impacted financially. It's important to be imaginative wherever you are. It's important to be imaginative because you want to make sure that you can imagine yourself in a better financial state. So if you prefer too much routine on the low dimension and you just kept one job, you will never really get out of financial setback. You would just be completely in survivor's mode, right? Here it is, you make $25,000 a year and you've been making $25,000 a year for 5 years. And there hasn't been an increase, or if there has been an increase, it's been just a little bit of just increase, but nothing really has changed. Now, does that say a lot about you, that you know how to keep a job, hold down a job, keep to a routine? Yes. Do that. Do keep that going. But if you are wanting to get out of financial setback, or just even if you may not be in financial setback with $25,000 a year for 5 years, but you want to increase your ability to make much more money, maybe an extra $5,000 a year to bring you to 30,000, you are going to have to get imaginative. You may have to create and then creative. You may have to come up with an original ideal. You may have to create a YouTube channel. You may have to write a book. You may have to create a podcast, which would lead to being curious about where you want to take yourself, right? And how to make more money. And you may need to be a little liberal in your thinking about how to accomplish that. That doesn't mean that you should be criminal. It just means that you may be the type of person who grew up with this idea that you get one job, you stay on that job for 25 years, and then you retire. Well, those days are really over. You may have a good number of people who still have those types of jobs, a good percentage of people who still have those types of jobs at certain factories, certain companies, things like that, higher brand companies. But it's unlikely that you're going to stay on that one job for 25 years and get the type of pension that you really want. And some of these jobs are, cutting back hours just so they don't have to pay health care. So if your mindset has always been like your mother's mindset or your daddy's mindset or their mother and father before them, you get the job, you stay on the job for 25 years, serve the company and leave and retire and get your pension, you may have to rethink that strategy. That strategy might have been seasonal during the times when companies paid for a lot for their workers. There were times that certain companies actually had housing units and pay for health care and pay for a great deal of the employee's life, basically, right? And so therefore openness to experience might require you to come up with some kind of idea. So that means you're going to have to let go of the convention. You're going to have to be less uncurious or not uncurious. And then of course, in many ways you still need to be conservative, but you may need to take the risk and be conservative along the way. So that's a way to look at openness to experience in terms of considering your personal finances, financial setback, and then financial recovery. All right. Hopefully you were able to gain some insight from this series topic. Like, subscribe, and visit. Like the video, hit the notification bell for future videos. You can visit my website, which is still in development, reginayfavors.com. You can always email me with a question, reginayfavors@yahoo.com. You will be able to purchase the book by the end of October 2021. I'm hoping that I will have it completely revised rather. It is already written and done. I just have to edit it. It is Overcoming Setback, 5 Keys for Entering and Exiting Correction. Thank you for visiting the channel. Coming soon is my new book that I am working on presently and hope to complete by the end of the year, December 2021, preferably February 2022, and that is Favors, Financial Recovery, Psychological Approaches to Overcoming Financial Setback with some workbook elements. So it is it will be the book that will support the audio series, although I have developed the audio series prior to actually writing the book. So be on the lookout for this new book. When it comes out, when I finish, I will create an audio introduction to the book. Thank you again for visiting the channel.